Today, Precarious plays Transistor.
Just don't drop me.
Okay, I made some changes. Most critically, I decided that I'm gonna try just Crash as a passive because I think it might be the defensive bonus that I was looking for. So actually, let me go back to the access point so I can read it. So you gain 25% damage resistance, which is fine. But more importantly, you are immune to slow and disable, which has messed me up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Being slowed. Definitely slowed. I don't know if I've been disabled before. Cool. Hello, second access point.
Gotta be something we can use in here. Not what I had in mind.
So now this should play much more nicely.
Huh. Have you been able to use the launchers in the middle of battles yet?
I don't think so.
I wonder how fun that will be. Or if it's just silly.
It seems fine. It
Bring him on.
doesn't seem like it's gonna cause very many problems.
What other games?
Oh, that's helpful.
What happened?
Well, give me a second and I can show you. So, that cracked open the weed
Oh.
right as soon as it popped out.
That little sphere. Is pretty serious. Ew.
What's that?
Making messes. Pooping everywhere.
Always making messes. No, I don't appreciate.
One more down.
Can't you just get out of there?
Yeah, I like that. I like that it breaks open the bad cells straight away.
Stick with us.
Okay, that was actually a small problem.
The launcher?
Yeah, it I wanted to use my A button function, and I ended up using the launcher instead.
Oh.
So not life-threatening, but a problem. I don't like how quickly they get to heal from the thing. It doesn't heal me nearly that quickly when I use it.
Yeah. Not fair.
Well, maybe it was just sort of a little bonus. Maybe somebody was like, oh, when you switch it, it should heal you, right? That's what it should do.
Is that the
Maybe could it be that I just don't like this one? Is
this
that
one?
it?
What?
This one game.
No. Well,
No.
I mean, it could be, but like, I don't know if you can make that decision yet. I mean, can you?
Someone else may not be able to, but I am very pushy. Let me see, gotta have this in the passive slot now, and I actually immediately missed call. To me, that's one of the more interesting decisions. Whenever you wind up with these high-powered functions, which one gets to be the active and which one gets to be the upgrade, right? And I think I like Cull plus Breach more than Breach plus Cull. Is there anything else that I would want to use instead? I think I'm gonna try to start using turn planning cost is 20. There's also 20. I think I'm gonna start trying to use Spark. Spark Crash
Mm-hmm.
for little groups and have that be my B button.
Mm-hmm.
Try that for a bit. But then that... I wish that I could have Jaunt there. Maybe that the next time I get an upgrade, I can try upgrading my B button slot. So that way I can do that. Because that seems like it's probably pretty good. I can't imagine that the game is gonna stop with that young lady-esque swarm of cells whenever you fight a big enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I'm gonna... How does Cull plus Bounce work? That seems like a nightmare. Number of jumps 5, jump range 350. Jump damage reduced, is it reduced by 20% or to 20%? I'm gonna hope that it's only reduced by 20% and that this is a monster of an attack.
I'm excited to see it. So are you having fun playing with these powers? I mean...
It's alright.
Okay. I usually don't like spending a lot of time
That's better.
in menus like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite the fact that I really appreciate this game visually, I don't think that I would ever play this game. Because it seems like every other fight, you stop and rearrange stuff, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, part of that is I'm trying to get all the stories.
I'm doing
Yeah.
everything I can.
Okay.
I know there's still time. But the truth is, ever since you took the transistor from him, he
Ah, Grant had the
just hasn't been
transistor.
the same. When you see him, I think you'll understand. So they need us to help fix their mistake.
How much game do you think there is left, actually?
I don't know. So one thing that I want to say is that I know it sounds like I'm being pretty down on this game, and I just was wondering out loud if maybe I just don't like it very much.
Uh-huh.
I should rephrase. So my appreciation for the Disgaea franchise, even as a youth, taught me that there's a difference between a good game and a game that you like.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older and I've played more strategy titles, I think that Disgaea as a series, feel like those titles are very fragile. But if you're on board, if you're being a good sport, they are actually really good strategy games. They can be, but you can, you can also just turn it into a very different game, like a grinding thing.
Yeah.
Something you just grind until you win. So the opposite is also true. I can like a game that isn't is especially approachable or just isn't very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Armored Core games, and I don't think that they're very good technically. Like they're technically flawed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've got a lot of problems. I mean, just the fact that there are so many functions that they don't fit onto a standard controller is a huge design oversight.
That
right?
would be a red flag, yeah.
Yeah, it's confusingly laid out. They have too much ambition for a regular DualShock.
Backstage access.
So I think that this might be a good game that just doesn't have the right combination of ingredients for me. But I would also like to say, did it not already do that? Oh, does it just immediately spawn bad cells? That would make some sense. If it just spawned them instead of, like, if it skips the cell and just goes straight to bad cell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, wait a second. No, I need to pay more attention, because what's going to happen if I do that is it's just going to go and heal incredibly rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Lady's making more trouble.
The hell? Ugh. So, there are games that I can think of that I like more. More than Disgaea that I would still consider to be... Okay, here's a perfect example, because we've played it on the show. I think that Phantom Brave is a worse game than basically any Disgaea. But I like Phantom Brave more.
Yeah, I still have a good impression of that game, despite thinking back on the conversations we had about it. I mean, especially like how slidey everything is. That's one thing that comes to mind. Where it's like, this could have been better. Well, and what about, Lost Kingdoms too?
I think that adjusting for the time frame, I think that Lost Kingdoms 2 might actually just be a good game.
Okay.
I think that it's better than the original.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
What?
All right, guys, calm down. Much too hyperactive. So, this game... What am I trying to say about this game? Oh, right. I can think of a game that I played this year that has a lot of the same ideas. I think that I prefer playing this game to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of the sentence.
Oh, okay.
I think that this is a game with very similar ideas.
That sort of action to turn to action.
Yeah, and even I would say that the functions are quite similar to Materia. What they've essentially done is they've made a Materia system where each piece of Materia is much more complicated and multifaceted. And every one of them doubles as linkable blue Materia. So I would say that this is probably what Remake's Materia system... This is that system on the best day of its life. It really is, because that's one thing that there are not so many of them that there are not so many of them that I'm personally inclined to say, like, no, I'm only going to do this between episodes. Nobody cares about the thought process. It takes 9 years to get through this. I mean, it all fits on one screen right here.
It does, yeah.
And now I know that you've told me at various points that you haven't internalized all of the little icons because you're not playing.
Yeah.
Which I understand. But I have internalized the icons, enough of them, to where whenever I went to, like, the space between spaces and saw the icons that they give you for those tests, I recognize most of them, so I can go like, oh, I think that's got ping in the upgrade slot.
Yeah. So now, about learning these icons and these, like, what you have available as far as the functions and the upgrades, do you think that you only know that as well as you do because you're playing the story game that they have set out for you, because you're trying to unlock different pieces of story?
I would still toy around with all of these even without that incentive. So
Okay.
here's a little challenge that they give you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very low key one. It's a little like
Mm-hmm.
which does not concern me. I'm not so interested in this. But if you look at this page, the upgrade page, see how Blood plus Jaunt has a check mark?
Yeah.
They give you that tiny little encouragement to go through and try every combination.
Yeah.
And that's a little too much for me, just because, let me give you probably the easiest example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I can't go the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
I can't show you one page that has every other power plus switch, but just blank plus switch will briefly switch target's allegiance to the users.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I have been able to observe, broadly speaking, it does more harm than it does help.
Yeah.
Just sort of like playing a lovely, fluffy Russian roulette. It's like, oh, now I've got a friend. And now I can't attack them for the next 3 seconds.
Okay.
Whoops.